Hello and welcome back to the Norway chess, this time for the sixth round. And this round also had a true thriller, the one between Levon ARONIAN and Fabiano CARUANA. So without further ado, let's just directly go to the game. ARONIAN is with the white pieces and Fabiano is with the black pieces. And actually Fabiano just lost 2 games in a row, so he's not in a good shape. ARONIAN started with e4. And frankly, I do believe that ARONIAN is a lot stronger player if he plays d4. So if I were Caruana, I would be quite happy to see e4. So c5 comes the Sicilian, knight f3, e6, and here comes a sort of strange and unusual choice from Aronian. He played the move c3, and after d5, e takes d5, queen takes d5, we are actually back to a sort of a normal c3 Sicilian. So d4, knight f6. We could have also got this position if just goes from the regular order. So c3, let's say d5, ed, queen d5, d4, knight f6, knight f3, and e6, and we are back to the game position, so absolutely regular c3 Sicilian. Here Aronian chose the move knight a3, knight c6, bishop e3, takes, knight b5, so there is this important trick on c7, so do not take the bishop because then you lose your queen. So here the move is queen d7, and then knight takes d4. And well, actually it is known not to be too dangerous for black. For the time being, white has a little bit of a development advantage, but it will soon disappear and the position is going to be more or less equal. Basically what white has is this majority on the queen side, so the 3 pawns here against the 2, and maybe white hopes that someday in endgame this could be a decisive factor, but it's a very long way down the road. So here there are actually some grandmaster games with knight e5, but Caruana decided to just play a6, but that's also completely normal. Comes bishop d3, bishop d6, castles, and actually in this position knight e7 is the first new move. So knight e7 is sort of the novelty, but of course it was not a prepared one from Caruana. It was just a move that he found over the board. So knight e7, queen c2, eyeing towards this thing, and after castles comes bishop g5. And of course the idea is to take on f6 and then take on h7. So Aronian is about to make the position a lot sharper. And here Fabi played the move knight g6, so he allowed white to take on f6 and ruining his pawn structure. And Fabi will hope that his dark squared bishop will be enough of a counterplay for the ruined pawn structure. So the game actually goes on rook d1, queen c7, rook e1, bishop d7, g3, rook e8. Finally comes the move bishop takes f6 and gf6. So if we stop here for a moment, we could see that, well, black has the 2 bishops obviously, but he has his sort of ruined pawn structure and his king. So Aronian's chance is to quickly attack the the black king. And Aronian is actually very good at attacking his opponent, so I'm not sure how good of a choice this was from Fabi. And indeed, Aronian goes h4. And after king h8 comes queen d2, bishop f8, and h5. And it's very clear that it's super quickly white is managing to create threat around the black king. After knight e7 comes another strong move from Aronian, bishop c2, with the idea of lining up on this diagonal and just checkmate the black king. And around here, also Caruana said after the game in the interview, that he started to realize that white actually has a lot of pressure. So here he plays the move rook e d8, so protecting this pawn, and after queen d3 f5, we actually reached again the critical position. So it pretty much looks like that at this point the black pieces are very much discoordinated. This knight on e7, the bishop on f8 is still not on g7. These squares around the king are actually quite weak. White sort of reached almost the maximum potential of his pieces, so something has to happen here. And Aronian felt it correctly that there is something, so he was thinking. He was thinking for a very, very long time, and he only had 15 minutes when he made his move. And he actually didn't find the best move. So here the best way would be to go very direct, play the move knight g5. The idea is obviously take on f7, so black's only move here is to go back with the bishop. And now also there is this pin on the d file. So again, it's quite clear that white needs to get out of the this pin, and the best way to do this is actually putting the queen on e3. It's a very direct threat of just simply taking on e6. But this turns out to be a very strong move. It's very hard to defend against. So even if black plays the move knight d5, there can still come, so it hits the queen, but still playing knight e6 here is actually very strong. So let's say f takes e6, queen takes e6, and well, black's position is just falling apart. There is one more pawn to hit here. These bishops are now very passive. White has beautiful, beautiful pieces. So white's attack is close to be decisive. Yeah, so this knight g5 and then moving your queen. Actually, you could move your queen anywhere. So here, all moves queen f3, queen e3, queen e2, they are all very good. And they are all connected with the idea of just sacrificing on e6 and just break open the position of black. So this would have been the best way to go, but Aronian didn't find this. And so he was thinking for like 45 minutes, and when he only had 15 minutes left on his clock. And I want to remind you that there's no increment in this tournament until move 40. So Aronian indeed had only 15 minutes to make, well, 18 moves. So it is a move, well, 17. This is move 23 now. So he made the move g4. It's again a very, very concrete move. You would like to take here, open up this diagonal, and once again check with the black king. And Caruana defended very well here, so he played the move f6. The idea of f6 is of course to stop this knight g5, because Caruana did see that knight g5 is very dangerous. So here comes the move g5 from Aronian. This was probably the move that made his advantage slip away for good. So he could have taken on f5, comes e5, and the position is very complicated. But so playing the move g5, and here black manages to activate his queen. Here comes queen f4, gf, queen g4, king f1, one more check, king e2, and now comes knight d5. So again, if we stop for a second, white is up now a pawn. There is f6 pawn, but it's quite clear that now this is white's king that's under huge pressure, and the black king is for the time being quite safe. So what would black like to do? Simply give this fork on f4. So here Aronian defended with queen d2, and here comes a good sequence from Fabi. Bishop b5 check, knight b5, and queen g4. So sacrificing a piece for the time being, but the idea is that there's knight f4 check coming, and now we have this d file open. So that's why Fabi gave up his bishop to open up the d file. And here there's actually only one move from white, and which is queen g5. So you move away with your queen, and also offering the trade-off of queens. Obviously you're up by huge material right now as white, so you're up a piece and also a pawn, so you would like to eliminate the pieces and then go for an endgame. But of course Fabi doesn't let Aronian to just get away with this. So comes a check, king e3, knight g2, king e2, and you don't even repeat because your opponent only has like a minute or so left. So here Fabi played the move queen c4, and at this position the way to defend is actually just very crazy. Only computers can find it. So here Aronian played the move bishop d3, which is a good way. So now you're attacking your opponent's queen, and after rook takes d3, the magical move is, well, you can stop the video and try to figure out how to defend now. So it's quite clear that you are in this huge pin on this file. Wherever the rook goes, your king is going to be in huge danger. But but you also have your own threats, and that's is how we should defend, to try to utilize on your own threats. And the move is knight e5. So you are staying in this ridiculous pin, but you claim that you have your own stuff as well. So the black queen is hanging, the black rook is hanging, and by the way, there's knight f7 checkmate threatening. And here, well, black has several options. One of them is to give rook e3 double check, king d2, and rook takes e5. And this is also still very complicated. Rook takes e5, e takes b5, and well, the position is still very complicated. But white is doing quite okay for the time being, so it seems like that he will be able to hold on to this. So next move is just take the knight. So after knight e5, there's actually rook g3, the best move from black side, and after knight c4, rook g5, the position is more or less equal. So, but knight e5 is obviously an impossible move to find, especially if you have like 40 or so seconds. So Aronian played the move rook takes d3, but this is actually just losing. The problem is that you just give a check, king e3, queen e4 check, king d2, queen d3, king c1, and queen takes f3. And now simply black is up a piece, and there is basically one more trick that white can do. So white here has two options to try to set up some trickery. One is with knight d6, the other one is with f7. So here I make the move knight d6, and you can stop the video to figure out how to defend. So obviously the threat is knight f7 checkmate, so you have to do something against that. And also if you play queen takes h5, which looks good at first, the problem is that white can just take an f4, and when you take the knight, all of a sudden this queen is protecting and goes back, and actually white is doing very well. So queen takes h5 doesn't work, but there is a very cold-blooded move here, h6. And after knight f7, you can just play king h7, and everything is fine. There is a last trick with queen g6, and if takes, then you don't take the pawn because the knight e5 comes and white can take the black king, but you can just step away with your queen and you're up a queen, and that's it. So knight d7 is not enough for counterplay, and therefore Aronian decided to play the move f7 with a checkmate threatening there. But here Caruana just played the move queen g4, no more checkmate, the queen is defending, and the game is over. Aronian was also flagging, but he's just done a piece, and it should be it. So it was a very interesting game, and Fabiano managed to win this, so he's basically back in the pack and back in the race. So after 6 rounds, there is 4 more left, and we also have a surprising leader, the 17 or 16 years old Iranian France guy, Alireza Firouzja. So he's leading by a little, I think, but all the top guys, so Karzan, Caruana, and Aronian, are going after him, and they are all in striking distance. So a very interesting finish is set up for this Norway chess tournament. See you in the next videos.